Hi there. Welcome to another one of my Own Your Expertise interviews. I'm Emily Crookston, owner and decider of all things at the Pocket PhD. I'm the ghostwriter for Rebels, Renegades, and Mavericks, and I love helping experts with big ideas get those ideas out of their heads and into the hands of their fans. Today, I'm sitting down with Carl Johnson. Carl is the owner of Carl Johnson Real Estate, and it's a Coldwell Banker HPW office, and he's located in Chapel Hill, although he's coming to us from home, of course, because of the pandemic. Full disclosure, Carl was my realtor. He helped my husband and I find our beautiful home almost 2 years ago now. We're so happy with it. And we loved working with Carl, so I'm excited to interview you, Carl. Thank you for speaking with me. Would you like to tell us more about who you work with and what you do?
Sure. So I'm a local realtor here in Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area. I live in Durham and my office is in Chapel Hill. So I get around a bunch. And I am a consultant and not a salesperson. I like to ask questions with my clients, and I am there invited to the party to protect their best interests at all times, sometimes protecting themselves from themselves.
Yes.
So I take that very seriously as a role. And I often will be in a house. If it's a buyer client, I'll be like, well, did you notice there's not blah, blah, blah in this house? I thought that was important to you. And they're all excited and listening, so, I try to keep it focused on
Right,
that.
right. Awesome. I love also what you say about selling a house. You say you don't just sell a house, you market it, right? Something like
Yeah,
that.
so when I put a house on the market, I love working with sellers as well. And when I put a house on the market to sell it, I just don't list it to sell. I market it.
Mhm,
And with my marketing background, which we'll probably get to later in the
mhm.
show, that is what separates me from a lot of other agents where, I've been a marketing professional for 35 years.
Yeah.
So for me, that is the absolute most important thing for me to do for my clients. And because I'm supposed to look out for the best interest at all times, I can't help myself but to do all of this marketing because I know how to do it. So I'm like,
Right.
well, I know how to do it. So I'm bound ethically by the North Carolina Real Estate Commission to
Mm,
assume I have to do it. So I just do it and overgive and
yeah.
overdo. And but yeah, it works. It works well.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I think a lot of people put their houses on the market and they don't realize that there's much marketing to it, right? They think, oh, it's a seller's market or whatever, and no other houses are for sale in my neighborhood. So what marketing do I need to do? I just post it, right? And I'll have a buyer tomorrow. And I'm sure that's often not the case.
It's actually not. I mean, a house can sit on the market. I
Mhm.
have somebody that I'm putting a house on the market next week, and he was telling me about a house that's been on the market for like a year. I'm like, well,
Wow.
something's wrong
Hmm.
because if it's not strategically placed in the market, you've got a commodity, so you have to make that commodity special and unique, and then you have something to market. So if it's not special or unique, or there's something broken, like possibly your relationship with the client or your communication,
Right.
network with the client, it's not going to work.
Yes. Yeah.
So, so my methodology is with a buyer, and you're going to start laughing in a minute, Emily, is the buyers are all excited. Oh, good, we get to go see houses. And I'm like, I'm really sorry, we're not going to go see houses now. And the buyers go, huh? We're like, well, we need to go and have a business meeting first. You
Right.
come to my office. We're going to talk about the process, what you want. The number one goal that we're going to achieve is that we're going to become a team. If we haven't become a team and your brain's not in mine and mine's not in yours, we haven't accomplished what we needed to accomplish and we need to continue in our meeting.
Right. Right.
I said, I don't want to waste your time. And I want to make sure that I do the absolute best job for you. And if we can't accomplish that, it's probably not going to work out well. So we talk about commitment to communication and all of these
Right.
things. And by the time we're done with our meeting, the client knows exactly everything that's going to happen. And we just go out, target the property, secure the property, we're done. And it's
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, it really streamlined the process that way. That makes so much sense. Why would I, as a realtor, take you around and show you a bunch of places that I don't really know if you like? Hope they like this one, right? It doesn't make any sense to just meet with them, get their needs and goals and written down, and everybody on the same page. Goes much more quickly. Like we looked at 5 houses. You showed us 5, and we bought the 5th one. So like, and I think we did it in 2 weeks or something. I mean, that's how quick it was, and
Yeah,
it's awesome. So yeah.
it was amazing.
So let's go back a little bit. So can you describe your path to becoming the expert that you are?
Yeah, so all of that would have never happened
Right.
if I didn't have some background sort of setting the stage,
Yeah.
if I may, as a singer actor that I am. I
Yeah.
actually went to North Carolina School of the Arts, and I was in the American Boy Choir, and I've been singing since 3rd grade. So, actually, I'll back it up to that, which I didn't even put on this. Is
Yeah.
I was in the American Boy Choir and started living there in the middle of 4th grade, and then in 6th grade I was in the touring choir, and we toured around the United States and Europe. And while we're in the United States, we stayed with host families. So I stayed with host families that were in a mansion on a hill in Columbus, Ohio, and owned multiple franchises of McDonald's and had a penthouse apartment on Park Avenue, New York.
Uh-huh.
And even went and visited them when I was in New York because I grew up in Jersey, only an hour out.
Okay.
And then I also stayed with a family that had like a 3-story house, and they had 4 children and 4 dogs. And at the top floor where we were like sleeping on the floor, there was this hole in the middle of the floor, and you could see all the way down to the 1st floor.
Wow. Yeah.
But we were so honored that they welcomed us into their home.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And what happens in your formative years, I mean, I was really young, 6th to 8th grade, staying with all these different types of people of socioeconomic status, diversity. It was just really unbelievable. And we sang a piece called Only I Never Saw Another Butterfly. And it was set to music by Charles Davidson, who took poems that were written in Terezin concentration camp. And after the concert, we would have so many people coming backstage, just crying and thanking us, showing us their brand on their arm of the numbers. And you can't really sort of explain what that means to a person of experiencing that when, that's just like one experience of, how I've met so many different kinds of people, so that when I'm walking down the street now, I'm like, never met a stranger.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like that's important as a real estate agent. Right. Your job is building relationships. I mean, every business is about relationships, but especially in real estate. So obviously, to set yourself apart, you really need to be able to tap into the humanity of people, right? And I think that that's what your background kind of shows, that, you can do that really well, right? So you did the boys choir, you went to college, and you ended up in marketing, right? And that's the other piece that I think is really
the other piece. So after college, I moved to Chapel Hill to take voice lessons with my teacher. Quickly discovered I didn't want to go back to school and be a singer. I was like, what am I going to be? But I figured out that I was like, well, I want to work for an advertising agency was my goal. So I called up my newspaper advertising rep at the movie theater. I said, I want to work for you. And she goes, okay. So I started working for her. And then I became general manager of the newspaper. And then I worked for an advertising agency. And then I had my own advertising agency. Then I started working at Chapel Hill Magazine, and then started Durham Magazine. I was done with all of that and flying around the country for 5 years. I was like, I'm done flying around the country. I want to be home. I miss my Durham. I started Durham Magazine and I've left it. One of the choices was to be a realtor, and I didn't do that because the hours were bad, just like me. I was like, I'm not gonna do that. The hours are horrible. I'll do, marketing. And then after I was in the airplane all that time, I was like, those hours don't sound so bad.
I might take the hours over the travel.
I think I'll be a realtor. So
tell us where we can learn more about you and connect with you.
carljohnsonrealestate.com is my website. I also have a weekly talk show, I guess I'd call it, called Optimistic Opportunities. And Emily was our guest yesterday on our season 2 premiere episode. So we shook it up and changed things, and we're doing a different direction this season. So you can find Optimistic Opportunities on carljohnsonrealestate.com. I'd keep it simple. You Google Carl Johnson, I'll come up.
That's easy. Yeah. Cool. All right. Awesome. Thanks so much, Carl.
Thanks, Emily. Appreciate you inviting me. It was a pleasure.